This is the rhythm of the night, oh yeah, the rhythm of the night, oh yeah, the rhythm of the night, oh yeah, the rhythm of the night.
Hello everybody, this is Pilgard Preaches, and today I'm going to be speaking about how we guard our thoughts. In the last video I spoke about what it means to guard our hearts, and throughout the month of June, that's the topic, is guarding our hearts. Today we're speaking about guarding our thoughts, and to start, most people try and stop sin at the action stage, but the Bible focuses on stopping it much earlier, which is the thought stage. The reason that the thought stage is so important is because actions don't just randomly happen. You don't just randomly decide to do something. There's usually a reason or a desire or something that is drawing you towards this action. And it usually follows a type of pattern which starts from your thought, which goes to a desire, which turns to an action, and then a habit, and then you feel the consequences of that. So a person doesn't usually just wake up and decide to make a terrible decision. And I talked about this a little bit in the last video. You don't just wake up and decide to sin. There's usually things that have happened in previous days which started as a thought, and usually you'll get that thought in your head, and then you'll think about it more and more, and then you'll entertain it and start imagining it and thinking about what it would be like, and you would justify it and be like, maybe just this one time, or maybe God doesn't care, or God's all forgiving and he'll forgive me, maybe just this one time. And then you're going to desire it more and more and more. The more you think about it, the more attention that you give it. And eventually you're going to take action on it. And that's when you fall. That's why the thought stage is so important. That's why we need to focus on our thoughts and stop it before it gets any further. And this is easier said than done. Like, you don't just stop a thought from coming into your head. I'm going to explain that here in a second. But this doesn't mean that every thought you have is a sin, all right? Because you can't control what thoughts come into your head. But it's what we do after the thought comes into our head that makes it a sin. If you have a bad thought, an evil thought about something bad, that doesn't mean you sinned. It just means that what happens next is up to you, and then the decision you make based off of that is the result. Meaning, if you entertain that thought, that bad thought, and you entertain it, and you feed it, and you replay it again and again, or in different scenarios, and you justify it like God doesn't care and this and that, and you build on it and you sit on it and you continue to think about it, that is kind of where it turns to a sin. And an interesting way to visualize this is, imagine someone knocking at your door. You can't control them knocking on it. You don't know they're going to come and knock on your door. But if you open it and if you let them in, that's your decision. That's up to you. Temptation always starts in the mind. It always starts at your thought. That's truly all the enemy can do, is pop a thought into your mind. He can't force you to go and take action on a sin. He can't force you to do something evil or wicked. He can put a thought in your head and make it super interesting and make it super attractive and intriguing so that you want to entertain it and that you want to imagine it and justify it and all these things. But he can't make you or work through you to commit a sin or take action on this desire. That's all you can really do, is put a thought in your head. A lot of times people overlook the danger of the repetition, because the more attention you give a thought, the stronger it becomes. So if you have a thought and then you think about it later in the day, and then the next day you think about it again, and then that day you're thinking about it again and again, like you can't stop thinking about it, that's when it gets stronger. But if you stop the thought before you think about it, like if you see the thought and recognize it and be like, that is not good, I shouldn't give that any attention, that's what it means to guard your thoughts. Like, don't give that any attention. But that's easier said than done, because like, don't think about it is the same as thinking about it. It's like if I say, don't think of a pink elephant, you're gonna think of a pink elephant. So instead, we need to replace it with something, meaning something healthier, like God. And that's why prayer and scripture and the word is so important, because it's not gonna remove these evil thoughts, but it's gonna give our mind somewhere healthy to go. It's gonna help us get closer to God and pray about it. Pray for God to take away this temptation. But if you keep replaying this thought, keep replaying something from your past about this, or something that you're imagining, keep replaying it, it's just gonna create a way easier way to think about it. It becomes way easier to have that thought in your mind. So what I was just explaining right there means to take your thoughts captive. Recognize this thought and be like, is this from God? Like, question your thought. Like, is this from God? Is it true? Is it a lie? Is it a temptation? Like, recognize it, analyze it, diagnose it, and know what it is. And this sounds like a lot of work. Like, oh man, like my thoughts are coming in and you want me to analyze and do all this stuff with my thoughts. But it's like, the more you do it, the more it's just going to be like subtle, and you're going to be like, ooh, don't think about that. You know what I mean? And if you have like basic like discernment and you've been reading the word for some time now, like, you most likely know what's part of God's commandments and what's not. So you'll be like, you'll know if that's a temptation for you or something you struggle with or something you shouldn't entertain, and you'll just know that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to take it captive and recognize if you should give it any attention or not, or if you can't. And another thing, like I was explaining earlier, a lot of people might try and combat these thoughts by not thinking about it. And you'll tell yourself, oh, don't think about it, don't think about it. But when you say, don't think about this, you're gonna think about it. That's gonna be on your mind. The real goal is to replace that thought with God, with scripture, with prayer, with your goals, with something healthy, rather than that temptation and entertaining it. And another thing about not being able to control with the thoughts that come into your mind, the things that influence the thoughts that come into your mind is what you're consuming, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're doing, all these things. I talked about this in the last video. That's going to influence your heart. That's going to influence what thoughts come into you. But if you're focused on something healthier, on your goals, on the things you want to accomplish, those are the type of thoughts that are going to be coming in. And honestly, your thoughts shape your reality. If you tell yourself that you're sad and you keep thinking you're sad and you're listening to sad music and you're watching sad content, you're going to be sad. If you're watching lustful content and consuming these lustful things, you're going to be lustful. It's going to be more tempting because it's in your heart, and it's going to flow to your mind, and it's going to flow to your desire once you entertain it, and all these things. And just know that it's not us relying on our own strength. We need to rely on God's strength. It's not our own self-discipline that's going to help us discern these thoughts. It's not our wisdom. It's not our truth. It's God's truth. It's God's commandments. It's God's strength that are showing us this discernment of the thoughts, if it's true, if it's false, if it's healthy, if it's not. It's our dependence on God. Everyone has their own struggles. Everyone has their own temptations and their own mental battles. The goal here is not to be perfect, because we aren't and we can't be. But the goal is to learn to bring your thoughts to God instead of letting them control you. It's not to entertain them and let them control you and take part in your life. It's to control them and let God control them so that they have no effect on you. But just to conclude this entire video of why our thoughts are important and how to guard our thoughts, is that when we repeatedly entertain our thoughts, they often become the actions we struggle with tomorrow. So when we think about something today and we entertain it, tomorrow it's probably going to be worse. The desire is going to be stronger, and that's what we're going to struggle with. So you can't control what enters your thoughts. You can't control what thoughts come in, but you can control what you do after and if you allow it to stay or not. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Stay tuned for the next one. This month I'm talking about guarding our hearts, and we're going to be deep diving some more interesting topics throughout the next couple weeks. Stay tuned.